Alright guys, Boy here to do some editing for you, or in front of you rather. This is going to be me editing a multi-perspective video for my event on the 1st of December. It's the 10th of December right now. It's taken me a while to actually do this. I did try to do this. There is an existing file for this project, but the problem is that Camtasia does not record when I go into full screen preview. When I click it, what should come up is that, but bigger, but what's going to come up on your screen is just a black box of nothing. So yeah, that's why I've got this thing stretched out, so because I do need to see these panels bigger. Sometimes I need to read the timers that are in the corner, and I can't read them when the screen's that big, so I'm just going to have to drag this down like this to make it bigger. It's a little bit ad hoc, but we'll deal with it. Now I've saved you the trouble of trying to get that to 640 OCD. There we go. I've saved you the trouble of creating all the layers and stuff. I've just opened a project from before and trashed all the actual video. There will be video here all along this, but it's not there at the moment because it doesn't need to be there, because we haven't imported it yet or anything. Now I'll just quickly go through the layers. We've got the busted layer up here. The busted layer is for marking when someone is busted. Way over here we have this. That's all it is. I'll just drag this out here. Basically, when someone gets busted, that little thing will plump down like a stamp and they get busted. Just an indicator as to when the crook gets busted, if at all. We'll move it over here. Whoops, no, not that. We'll move this over here because we're going to need it, seeing as the first two modes are busted. Down here we have the grid. The grid is just the 4-box thing that splits the screen. It's just a bitmap, I believe, and I've just chroma keyed it to get rid of the black. So if I get rid of this, it just goes black, because I don't know how to do alpha in Paint. Nor do I know how to do Photoshop, so I can't really do transparencies because I'm a noob. But yeah, chroma keying just to get rid of the black and just leaving the white crosshairs works fine. Here we have the mode. The mode comes up in the bottom right corner. Whoop, mustn't be that then. Oh no, I've got to pick a keyframe, don't I? Right, there we go. The track motion is how we move these things around. If I move this, see how it moves around? It's a quarter of the size it normally is, and this one goes in the bottom left. The 3 points of view, my point of view, R&B Crazy's point of view, and Insect's point of view, are in the top left, top right, and bottom left respectively, and then on these 3 layers down here. Their audio layers are minimized because I don't have too much screen real estate to work with here, especially considering that I usually work in 1920 by 1200 resolution. This is 1920 by 1080. I've lost 60 pixels on the top and bottom of my screen, so space is of the essence, and I need as much space as I possibly can, so these things are minimized as much as possible because I don't need them. I will need to maximize a few layers when I do audio editing and when I do keyframes, but for now the only ones I need to see are the mode and the 3 points of view. So the first thing we'll do is we'll import the actual footage. Now we'll get rid of these for a start. By the way, I'm not going to be doing the whole thing, like showing you where everything is, or showing you how to do everything, like showing me doing every single mode. It'll probably show me doing like 3, editing 3 different modes, and one of them will be where I have to switch to full screen at some point, to show you how I do that. So my footage is recorded in just big blocks because the way I have my thing set up, the PS3 is hooked up to the capture card via component, and the capture card has a HDMI output. That outputs back to my computer monitor. I would output it back to my TV, but I don't have a HDMI cable that's that long, and I'm too lazy to buy one. Because obviously the recording is done on the computer and the monitor is hooked up to the computer via DVI, I keep having to change the inputs every time I want to start and stop recording, because the sound doesn't come through in the capture program itself, and the screen is really small. You can't do like a full screen preview. The frame rate is also halved in the preview. In the actual program window itself, if you go to the actual video output that the HDMI cable is delivering via the capture card's hardware rather than its software, you get the proper sound and proper frame rate. So yeah, it's irritating trying to do it from the little window. These guys are on the desktop. HD R&B stuff is here. Now they've been numbered. It hasn't quite come up in order here, but it will come up in order when we go to Project Media. So this is R&B stuff, right? Yes. So R&B stuff will go here, and they come up in order. I've numbered them in the order that we played them. They seem to upload them in whatever order they like. I think one of them uploads in like alphabetical order according to what the mode is. But anyway. Project, there we go. Right, so now everyone's point of view is in its respective folder. Times is for when I do like busted point of views. Or busted multi-perspectives, I beg your pardon. And we have to figure out like how long people are being chased for in busted events. But we don't have any of that in this video because we're not going to have round after round of busted. So the first thing we're going to do is drag the first round of games onto the thing. Now obviously mine's in big blocks, so I'm going to have to split mine up, but Insect and R&B upload each game in a separate video. These are just YouTube HD rips. They're just MP4 videos. The 720p feed. I used to download, because remember these are only 640 by 360p, so I used to download the 480p MP4 or the 360p MP4, the standard def MP4, and it didn't actually come out looking as good as I wanted. It's not so much because of the resolution, but more due to the frame rate. And it's a combination of both when you think about it, because the game is played in 720p, it's been recorded in 720p, it's been uploaded in 720p, and I'm downloading it in 720p. So the frame size has not been resampled. But when you resample the frame size, it's got to compress things a little bit more than you'd like. And yeah, the 480p or 360p rather videos did not come out looking as good, even though they're in their native size. So yeah, I use the 720p rips. It looks a lot better. Now the first thing we're going to do is find an approximate synchronization point, because obviously these are nowhere near each other at the moment. Now I can't go full screen, but I will find a spot on this. I'm in the chat the entire time, but the point is, if we make this bigger, yes, it does work. I can read all this. As we can see, I'm not even in the game at the moment. R&B's timer is at 48 seconds and Insect's is at 30. That means we are not synced up, and we have to sync up every single game mode as closely as I can. So the best way for me to find where the game modes are on mine is to simply look for the big block of sound, because that's where the games usually are. As you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks of sound. That's as many as we played in TLAD, and this recording batch here is just TLAD, so the sound indicates where the games are. Now, even still, we are obviously not synced up. I'm at 6 seconds, he's at 48 seconds. And Insect's at 30, so we're going to get these approximately right. So if I'm at 5, is that 5? Yes. If I'm at 5, then I will have to, we have to go to the person who starts the latest, so it will be R&B we're trying to catch up to. So we're going to take off about, till I get up to about, hold on, where does he start would be a better question. He starts at, scroll down, he starts at 37, so I will find 37. Luckily, when you try to clip, what do you call it? When you lengthen or shorten clips, it goes full screen, so I can actually see the timer. Now we need 37, so we'll drag it up. That's about 37. We won't get it exact just yet, just as close as we can. Insect is at, don't tell me that says 40, no, that says 19. So if he's at 19, then he needs to come back 18 seconds. Make this the 18 there should do. Right. Now we'll just skip to some random point about there. Let's see where we're at. 39.44, 39.30, 39.51. So we're around about the same. Now as you can see, we're still not quite synced up because R&B's crashed into me here, but he's just over here on my screen. So we have to sync this up frame by frame. Only one sync point has to be found. I'm not going to sync it at the beginning and then see if it's still synced up at the end, and then like make clips like change the speed and things. Usually you just find one point where things happen all at the same time, or I can find 2 points for 2 different pairs and sync them up that way. But we only need to find 1 point of reference for each video, 1 or 2 points of reference, and we're done basically. So first off, what I'll do is I'll desample my own footage, or disable the resampling of my own footage. As you can see there, I'll turn it back on. Notice how it's kind of blurry, and then when I get rid of this, it stops being blurry. Might not be able to see that because of the compression. I'll drag that bigger. See how you kind of get ghosting? Like with the, you might not be able to see it because of the compression again, but like that tree's kind of ghosty, and that lamppost is kind of ghosty, but then when I disable the resample, it goes away. That is because you should always disable resample, because it's horrible, and it makes your encoding take way longer. Yeah, this is being done in 29.97. My capture card records at 59.94. If you disable the resample, it basically just cards every second frame. R&B and Insect, I believe, also record at 59.94. I would assume so, according to their capture devices. But when they upload to YouTube, they just upload the raw footage. YouTube automatically detects the frame rate and just halves it. Doesn't do any resampling. Resampling makes your video look awful. If you have resampling enabled, then just pick a frame rate that's a multiple, or a fraction rather, of your, no, a factor of your capture card recording frame rate. Disable the resample. You will never get ghosting. It will look as smooth as, it won't have jumps because of the. If you disable resample and your frame rate is not a factor, not an even factor of your capture card recording frame rate, it'll be like jittery. If you try that, if your frame rate does not, if your project frame rate does not go into your capture card frame rate an even number of times. Anyway, or it doesn't go into it. Oh, if you've got like a remainder. Buh, I'm gonna clip all that out. Anyway, so now we've got these 3 here. We can get them synced up frame by frame. Now I remember when I last edited this that there was a point where Insect and I crash into each other, and I figured this would be, here we go, was that it? Yes, here we go. This will be a good point for me to use. So we'll just go backwards, backwards, backwards. Now, Insect is right there, but here on my screen is kind of not there. All the timers are at 147, 147, 147, or is it 17? No, it's 117 on all 3 of them. It's a little bit hard to read it unless you go full screen, which I can't do. But we're gonna have to sync this up frame by frame. So I'm coming in on Insect screen first. So right there is where I hit him. But on my screen, I hit him in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frames. So I am 7 frames behind Insect. I'm 7 frames behind him, which means I need to lose 7 frames. To clip that much, you just gotta zoom in a little bit. 7 frames. Now if we go back up to 147 on this thing, which is going to be hard to find, be after that, surely. Oh no, no it wouldn't, because that, there we go. If we try that again, they should have it at the exact same time. And they do. Now I can't sync them up absolutely perfectly because I live in Australia, R&B lives in the UK, Insect lives in the US. The network latency between my country and either the UK or the US is like anywhere from 300 to 500 milliseconds. So it's very, very difficult to actually get these synced up perfectly. But I do the best I can. Now, as for R&B, I believe there's a point where we're on this freeway and he does a U-turn. And I see him do the U-turn. And I sync up when he crosses the lanes over here. So, if we drag this, I'm trying to find the thing, there we go, we drag this up here. Now, he's right on the yellow line over here, but over here he's not even barely over the white line. So we gotta find when he hits the yellow line. So he hits the yellow line about there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I am 9 frames behind him. So both Insect and I are 9 frames behind R&B. So if I select both and whoops, oh no, you can't do that. I could do that if I group things, but that takes too long. 9, 9. Now if I go back to wherever that was. If I can find it. Now obviously I can't check if Insect's synced up, but we can check if I'm synced up. That's about right. That's another thing you can kind of notice, that the notifications in these corners should come up pretty much at the same time for everyone. I can't sync them up exactly, but yeah, if we just go back till we see the thing where I come up first, it comes up on our screens before it comes up on R&B's screen. That means R&B might be a little bit ahead of us, or behind us rather. We might be a little bit ahead of him. But for now, I think we should be fine. So I get out in this game, I totaled my car, so let's see if we can just find where the crook is actually busted. Oh no, in this case actually the crook isn't busted. I let Rob escape here because he was too good. So in this case we actually don't need this busted thing yet. We'll drag that over here. And now we just need to get these ended. Make the end of this game. So I think we're just going to end it when R&B's footage ends. Because by that point, that's only just after I've said the game's over, Rob escapes. So we'll split mine, we'll drag Insects back, and now we'll get this right. Well, the title's obviously wrong. That should say busted. That should say, whoops, that should say Rob the sickest kid as crook. This is all going to be 24. Do I want that as, whoop, do I want the space as 36 or 24? 24. Everything's got to be right. What does that say? It says the exact same thing for some reason. Okay. So we'll drag that back. Now we'll, because these are all synced up, I can now drag all 3 of these. And we should also notice, just to check that this is synced up, that the crook leaves here at the same time. He drives away at the same time on all 3 screens, and therefore they will stay synced up all the way to the end. So we'll just bump these back. Now the transition I use for this is barn door, the bottom one. Oh, I did not know you could do that. If you actually select all of them, it puts it on all of them. I didn't know that. I thought I had to do it once for each thing. Cool. But yeah, basically I do it like it's opening up the points of view, and then when if someone's point of view like drops out, it'll close. The doors will close. So just a little effect there, and we'll drag that a little bit out. Now the next game mode is another round of busted, so we'll just drag mine over here to where we line up. It's about there. Drag this back. Save as would be smart, so we don't lose everything, because this is prone to crashing. Excuse me, prone to crashing on me from time to time. That's RMBs. That is insects. Get rid of that. Okay. We'll copy, paste this. And this dude is hate people when they have lowercase things in their name because they gotta like change it so it actually looks like their name. There we go. We'll just drag that back. Okay, now once again, let's go to about there and look at the clocks. 154, 221, 211. So again, RMB is the furthest ahead. We have to sync up with him. So Insect's got to lose 10 seconds. I've got to lose 154, 221. 27. Okay, make that 26. $224, $224, $225. Bring him back in this. That's about right. Okay. So as you can see here, we're kind of synced up. This one was a lot trickier, I remember, from doing this the first time. We'll see, though. Right, the first thing I'll do is I'll sync up R&B and Insect by having them film when this guy actually leaves. That's where he leaves on Insects. That's right, R&B swivels the camera and it makes it hard to tell. Looks about right. Okay then. I'm behind everyone, so let's see if I can get it right when we're in the air, or when the people do just jump off that last thing. Where's R&B? What color is he? He is blue, light blue. People, oh no, they're not going to jump up there, are they? No. And Insect's behind everybody, so I can't see him properly. Not the best spot to do any syncing of any kind. Right here. Here we go. Lots of people are here. That's pretty much... Yeah, I actually think we might have been really lucky with that one and just synced it up pretty much correct. Because that looks spot on to me. If we just go to the end, might get a better idea. Here, insect and I. Oh no, hold on. Ah, see, insect and R&B aren't quite synced up, so he hits in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he is 6. So R&B is 6 frames ahead of R&B. No, R&B is 6 frames ahead of insect. I can't find any good sync point for me though. I think there was one point where I was following R&B and he drove onto like a footpath, and I synced up when he drove onto the footpath. It's around about here. Here we go. And I crash, and then he hits the footpath right there. So yeah, I'd say he hits it about there on his screen. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About 5. That's as much syncing as we needed for that one. Now again, R&B pretty much has the least time. So we'll drag him back. I don't know if we need any more footage than where he actually gets busted, wherever that is. It's pretty soon. Do I type in busted or what? Yeah, you can hear that right there, that the sounds are synced up. Yes, right there. So we then move this. Now usually I move the busted thing back to come in right when I say busted, but because R&B cuts his footage off so early, I have to find the part where he's actually on fire. So on any one screen about there should do. So we'll move it to start there, and we'll drag it to here, and we'll drag this to here. Right then, so that's done. Drag these back 1 second, fade. Okay. Now the next game is Witness Protection. Now he doesn't have any foot. Ah, that should be number 5. That is wrong. That should be number 5. And you might have noticed it said Failfest there. Insect was actually reluctant to give me that footage because he said he failed. But that was Own the City is one of those modes where there's just shit going on all over the map. So I'm like, I need your footage. I don't care how much you sucked. So, number 3, Witness Protection. Now, speaking of Insect not giving me footage because it wasn't very good, this isn't me determining this, by the way. This is him going, my footage wasn't very good, I'm not going to send you this. Yeah, Insect didn't send through 3 modes. He didn't send through Own the City, Bat Battle, or Witness Protection, which were right after right after one another, which is strange. Now, as I said, I got Own the City off him, but we don't have Witness Protection, so in this particular multi-perspective, we're just going to have R&B's footage and mine. In which case, I have to copy and paste something down here. That's what you get. Now, this one is going to be a right fucking pain because we have no timers. There are no timers in this, as you can see. Now, I can't sync up things going off the map or anything. What we're going to do this time is use we're going to use the little indicators that come up in the top left that I mentioned before. Now, I'm going to find where someone kills someone else. I think I just saw one there. There we go. What did that say? That says G-Man, something or other plugged insect. Too bad we didn't get to see that. Now what we'll do is we'll split that there, so I remember where it is. I'm not going to do 1 frame, 2 frame, 3 frame, not at this point. And I have to find on my screen where that happens. That might actually happen beforehand, I'm not sure. Oh, there we go, just found it. So, where are we? That shouldn't be there either. That busted. Why is that there? Ah, yeah, I remember. That should just go there. Right, so right there. Split, and they meet up, and they meet up. There we go. Simple. Now this shouldn't say busted, this should say... Now, is there any point at which RB and I are actually on the same screen in this one? Not really. But, I think there's one point, because we're pretty much in different parts throughout the entire game. But, there is one point, I believe, at which he passes me. And we'll need to drag this out. Somewhere up here. Yeah, I spin out, and... there I am. Oop. Oh, doesn't remember where you're up to. There we go. So, let's see if this is synced up properly. Clearly not. It was synced up pretty good before, I don't know what the hell. Okay, when does he hit the ground? There, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30. I'm exactly 1 second. Exactly 1 second behind. There we go. Don't know what happened there, but anyway, we'll see if it's better now. Back. Yeah, I think that's the only place we're actually on screen at the same time. Now I want to see if those blips come in at the same time. So see that one right there. Yeah, see how those come up in like the exact same time? That's what we're aiming for. And they're pretty much dead on, so that's as much as needs to be done for that one. So we'll split it off about there. Get rid of that and we'll drag this out as long as we need to. So given that we have a scoreboard at the end of this one, if I can find the thing, there we go. Now, what the hell is the point of having 2 scoreboards? There is no point. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to have to go into full screen mode. And full screen mode does not mean one screen kind of pops out and just stretches out. Full screen means we zoom in on this one, or we give the illusion that we're zooming in anyway, by moving every single panel, basically. So we're going to copy... we're going to find the exact frame where it starts off being on the scoreboard for me. Right there. We want it 1 second from there, so 10, 28. 727. So everyone's going to come back to here. and I'm going to be the only person on the screen at that time. So we're going to have to bump up all these. We're going to have to bring out all the positioning things. For some reason this doesn't have any positioning things yet. Damn, goes away. Okay. Then we'll just create one. I don't know. What time is this on the timeline? 1848. 18's about there. Now then, we have to create keyframes on all of these. This can get a little bit annoying, but it is worth it. Okay, so what we now have to do is make these all smooth so the transition doesn't look crappy. Then we'll change the last keyframe. So this is the grid, so we're going to go pick, because we're expanding the upper left screen, we're going to go grid expanded upper left. Over here is what's being expanded, over here over here is the layer we're working with, and over here is the screen that's going to be full screen by the end of this. So that changes the frame size such that it's that big at that point in time, and these keyframes will kind of morph into one another. It'll make all the calculations for every single frame in between that point, for those of you who don't know how editing works. That's the title, so we're looking for title expanded upper left. This is the screen that's being expanded, so we'll just go default. This is the upper right track. And this is the upper left track. No, the lower left track, I beg your pardon. Lower left, oh, DL, there we go. So, the effect that you get should look like this. And we'll just drag this out so you can look at everyone's score. So it basically just goes from that to that. Much better than what I used to do, which is popping one frame out and then having it cover up the rest. Didn't look very good. So now we've got that done, we have to do the reverse. So we have to copy this and put it here. That's gonna say Bat Battle. Bat Battle. It's gonna say Lost Bikes, Hove Beach, and we can just drag this somewhere along there, and that they should all say hold. Move this back a second because it's going to need a second to transfer everything back. We'll find around about where it starts on mine. Where do I do the countdown? Is this? Yes. About there. Doesn't need to be exact. Mine's just gonna fade in. We'll need another grid. And we'll need R&B's footage of the Bat Battle. Insect doesn't have any footage of the Bat Battle, so we'll just put the title there. Okay. Now we're going to do this backwards. So we have to create keyframes here, 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 here. I've skipped one. And here. And they all have to come out there. They all have to be smooth transitions. And these all have to be their originals, so that should just be default. That should say title. The background for that really should be black, but anyway. That's upper left. That's upper right. That's lower left. Okay, so the entire effect then looks like this. And that's basically it. Now, whenever I do that, of course, because I'm OCD, I also change the sound. We also edit the sound for each one. Now, it's easy enough here. I can just fade them out and fade them back in again on the tracks that are getting faded out, tracks that are getting pushed off the screen. But as for mine stays on the screen. And we've got this little orange one here called pan. Pan basically is how far left or how far right the sound's coming out, and you can adjust it. It's in the middle by default, but if we drag it up here, the sound will come up to the left, and if we drag it down here, it'll come out to the right. Now the reason it's on center by default is because it's the one that houses, it's the track that houses this sound for the beginning, and I don't want that coming out the left or the right speaker. I want it coming out both. But once we get to my point of view, what I do is I split the sound such that the people on this side come out the left speaker, and the people on this side come out the right speaker, just to make it a little easier to differentiate who's making what sounds. So now, not completely left, just about 60, 58 will do. And I'm pretty sure for these guys it's always down there. Yeah, I leave it unmodified. For them, okay, and then we go over here to wherever the hell I was up to. Here, and we scroll up, and because I'm OCD, I'm going to move this back to the middle and then back out, so you might be able to hear it. Not really, it's not that noticeable, but I will not upload things unless they are done like that. So that's basically it. Every single game mode is done the exact same way, and the only time I ever go to full screen apart from scoreboards like that is when one person's point of view is the only point of view worth watching, such that either the other people are both out, or the recording footage went dead, or something like that, or the footage got corrupted, they didn't upload it, whatever. That's the only other time I ever go to full screen. Otherwise, it's always at least 2 panels. Now, that will be done for every single game mode. It goes along in the order that we played them in. Then the video just fades out at the end. Now, as for the actual render settings that I use for this, I'll quickly show them to you. Render as, and I have a folder on my desktop called YouTube. That's where everything goes. I use main concept avc/AAC, which makes an MP4 file. I've got 2 YouTube codecs here, 3 if you count that one. That's for standard def things, but I haven't used that in a very long time. I only use that to encode Ratchet and Clank 1 stuff. For most other things are recorded off the PS3, which are recorded in 720p. I use either YouTube HD low quality or just YouTube HD. This is for videos that don't need as high a bitrate. For example, like Little Big Planet 2 levels where the entire background is black and the compression doesn't need to be do as hard a job, and we can live with the lower bitrate because it doesn't have as much data to compress in the first place. But for something like this, where there's 3 different panels, I have to use this one. And sometimes I even have to bump the bitrate even higher, because it's not one video where all the data is where all the video data is like interlinked, or all the pixel data and color data is interlinked. It's 3 separate ones where what's in this panel cannot determine the color of what's on this panel, cannot determine the color of what's on this panel, cannot determine the color of what's in this panel. So, and that does bump the bitrate up, as surprising as it sounds, even though the video is the same size, the same frame size, because you've got 3 different streams and it's encoding 3 different things, it does bump the bitrate up. So the template is as such. It's 720p, 1280 by 720, main profile, 29.97 frame rate, progressive scan, pixel aspect ratio of 1, 2 reference frames, deblocking filter is used, variable bitrate of 7 megabits max, average of 5 megabits per second. You really should be uploading higher than that. That's like the bare minimum I can get away with without it looking like shit in HD. So, and the reason for the low bitrate is because I have shit internet. My upload speed is at max, around 700 kilobits per second, and it takes fucking forever to upload these things. And this is going to be the only video I'm probably ever going to upload in 1080p, this thing. Otherwise you won't be able to read anything, so this video is going to take a long time to upload as well. I should probably tick that, but anyway. That's the sound, fairly simple. I can render with my GPU, which makes things a lot faster, and that doesn't even matter. So yeah, that's what things are rendered with. I don't think there's anything else that's really important. There's nothing in here that's not covered. Nope. So yeah, that's how I edit things, guys, or edit the multi-perspectives. And if I'm going to edit like a normal project, it's just the same thing but with one layer and without all the keyframe bullshit. It's just, there's a title layer, a busted layer, and a video track and an audio track, and that's all it is. It's just clipped. Also, when I do regular editing, like regular events where it's just my perspective, I'm the kind of like OCD person who will actually clip out the loading times between respawning in King of the Barge and the loading times between deaths and respawning in modes with guns and such. But I can't do that here because obviously things will fall out of sync if I try to do that. So unless every single character dies at the same time, we can't do that. But yeah, that's how I encode things, that's how I edit these multi-perspectives. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys later.